And welcome to the Lyons Share, where we talk family, faith, football, finance, and fun. I'm your host, Mitch Lyons. This episode, as always, brought to you by MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. Today, we have a fun guest. We're coming into football season. Everybody loves a little fantasy football, so I thought I'd have Mikey Henninger on, and proprietor of Basement Brewed Fantasy Sports. Mikey, welcome to the show, and it's great to have you on.
Mitch, this is awesome, man. Thank you for having me. I can't think of a much better way to start a Tuesday morning, so I'm cool with it.
Well, you caught my eye on LinkedIn. I'd seen a few of your posts and whatnot, and we kind of bantered back and forth. And I just thought you'd be fun to have on. You're an interesting story. Obviously, America loves fantasy football, right? So tell us, I guess, where you first got hooked with the bug of fantasy footballitis.
Oh man. Well, I mean, the bug of football in general, that goes back to when I was a kid. But fantasy football, I think that had to be about 18 years old, high school. My buddy launched up a league. In fact, I was when they had the first draft, I was way up north, nowhere near a computer, nowhere near fantasy football. Like I didn't have a fantasy football magazine or anything. I ended up drafting guys like Mike Allstott, which, usually great guy, great football player, but you're usually not drafting fullbacks
Yeah.
in fantasy
Work done was
football.
poaching a few touchdowns from him.
Yeah, just a few. So it was
So you're
it
just
was
you're
a
up north, you're calling in picks, not even knowing what the heck's going on.
calling in picks. And here's the truth, man. I knew you started like a quarterback, a couple running backs, three wide receivers. I didn't know you had bench spots. So when he called me back in the 10th round, he's like, "Hey, you're back on the clock." I was like, Mike Allstott." Like I had no clue what I was doing. So it was wild, man. I started 0-6, and then I made a trade for Steven Jackson from the Rams, and
Yeah.
he carried the whole rest of the season. I ended up climbing all the way back, getting into the playoffs as the 4 seed, and winning the championship. I won every game from the rest of the year. And as you can imagine, an obsession was absolutely born from that point.
Well, sure. I mean, and that's the only time in NFL history a team started off 0-6 and made the playoffs. So that's pretty impressive.
Yep, it was wild, man. At one point, I was 1-7, and then I never lost after that. It
Yeah,
was I won the championship, and my team name at the time, as a joke, was "I'm rebuilding," because obviously you can't rebuild
a
a
starting
typical
program.
redraft fantasy football team. Yeah, and I won with that team, which is
That's
wild,
that's hilarious. So
absolutely wild.
so so you're 18. I know you just celebrated a birthday yesterday. So that's a lot of years in between. So how did
Yep.
how did the fascination, the obsession, I guess, continue on to the point where
Well,
you're at
it
today?
just, I mean, it started. I shouldn't even say it started small, right? The obsession just kind of it increased pretty exponentially, like joining multiple leagues, mostly as a player, right? It was just I want to get as much of this as I can. Like, give me all the unique leagues, let me get into as many leagues as I can, and the business came about. Basement Brewed Fantasy Football came about because I started creating my own, doing my own research and creating my own resources for myself to use when I play. And a friend of mine actually convinced me to, hey man, like you got to put this stuff on Reddit. You got to put it out on social media. Like people will eat this stuff up. And I actually almost didn't. Like I don't know if you are familiar with Reddit, Mitch. I don't know if you
Yep.
like. It's a scary place. There's a lot of unhappy human beings like
Right,
hanging out
right.
on Reddit. And it's super anonymous, right? Nobody has
They're not going to
profile
fill
pic.
you with confidence, huh?
Yeah, and nobody has profile pictures. Nobody has like it's all screen names. But anyway, I reluctantly put it on Reddit, and I'm thankful I did because it kind of blew up. And I got to a point where they're like complete strangers in my DMs asking for my Venmo. They're like, "You got to keep posting this." So, I mean, it was kind of this fast and furious road of like.
So what kind of info were you giving out there?
So it was a resource that I called the heat map, but it's meant to help with like start sit decisions. It's like those
Okay.
I have three running backs, but I can only fit two into my lineup. Who should I leave on the bench? I was doing contextual matchup analysis for literally every single player in every single game. There's 280 plus players in this thing every week, so that if you're trying to decide between two, three guys, you can read my analysis on each one and then make an educated decision from there. And that was the baby that started this entire business. It's been a wild ride, man. Wild.
So walk us through that. I mean, you're 18, you get a little older, you start into your normal life, you get married, you have kids. I mean, you're working a normal 9 to 5.
hmm
When do you decide, okay, I think I can make a go of this? And more importantly, to get your wife to agree to that, tell us how that transpired.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, and you're spot on, right? The first decade out of college, right? 18 to 28, 30, 31, 32. I spent over a decade in B2B sales, just climbing that corporate ladder, starting as a BDR and making 80 cold calls a day and setting meetings for the outside guys and just I did the corporate thing for quite a
Sure.
while, and all the while the fantasy football thing was kind of blowing up on the side, but it wasn't until March of 2022. So we're still, I mean, we're not even 4 full years into this thing. It wasn't until then, to answer your question, that I decided to go all in. And I shouldn't even say convince my wife because she was actually, it was kind of the other way around. She was the one who convinced me. Um, I'll tell you a quick story about how it all began. There was one specific moment. I was with my son and my whole family at a water park during spring break. And at the time, he had to be what, 5 years old. And he was like, Dad, I want to go down that big water slide, right? So we went climbing all the way up to the water slide. We waited in line for like 35, 40 minutes, dripping wet, kind of freezing cold. And
Every parent's nightmare, those indoor water parks.
those indoor water parks, right? And I'm guessing you can probably guess where this is going. I get to the very top. He takes one look inside. It's pitch black. I don't want to do it. I'm like, Dad, there's no way. I'm not going down there. And I'm like, selfishly, I'm like, dude, we just waited. I'm freezing. We got to go down. We got to go down the water slide. He didn't. It got to a point where I kind of grabbed him by the shoulders and I was like, buddy, sometimes the most important thing that you can do in your life is the thing that you're most scared of, right? And at the time, I had been thinking, what if I quit my job? What if I went all in on this fantasy football thing? That's something that was kind of brewing in my mind for like 6 months. And the second I said those words to him, he didn't hear them. Like we went all the way back down the stairs. We didn't go down the water slide, but I heard them. It was like
Yeah.
the light bulb went off in my head. Like, oh my gosh, I think I need to go for this. And I went down and I said to my wife, hey, I think on Monday, this was on a Saturday, it was the weekend of spring break. I said, on Monday, I'm quitting my job. I want to do this full time. And she would have had every right to be like, absolutely not, right? We have a mortgage, we have two kids under 6 years old. Like, there's no way. And at this point in our lives, I was the quote unquote like breadwinner at the
Yeah.
time, right? I made the most money out of the two of us. It would have been totally acceptable and understandable if she said, you cannot do this. But she said the opposite. And I'm probably going to butcher it because she's smarter than I am. But she said something along the lines of, if it comes down to money, we can figure that out. Like you have a decade long sales career on your resume. We can figure that stuff out. But what we can't fix is you going through the rest of your life wishing that you took the chance when you had it. It was something along those lines. And I was
Yeah.
like, all right, that's it. Let's go for it. Let's go for this thing.
Yeah.
So
That's
three,
awesome,
three,
man.
4 years later, man, it's wild ride for sure.
You're a blessed man, have a wise woman by your side, you know. A
Yep.
lot of people go through life working, right? And I always say if you love what you do, it's never work. I mean, do you ever
Yeah.
see yourself retiring from this, right? I mean, it's what you love doing anyway. What are you going to do? Retire and then spend more time in fantasy football?
Right, 100%. It's funny you say that. We were just talking about this not long ago. I'm like, I don't think I am gonna retire because this is what I
Yeah.
like. This is how I would spend my
Yeah,
retirement.
I mean, I put a poll question out on LinkedIn today, just saying what does retirement look like, right? And one of the answers was, why quit? I love what I do, and that's the cool thing. So tell people how they can get a hold of you and check out your services or purchase your services.
Yeah, man. I mean, I like to think I'm everywhere. If you're looking to actually purchase the services, you just go to. It's kind of confusing, but WHOP WHOP.com/BBFF. It's kind of my
Basement
website.
Brewed
It's a
Fantasy
perfect.
Football,
Yeah,
BBFF. All right.
yeah, WHOP.com/BBFF. It's a great spot for like content creators if you're trying to host content there. But other than that, man, I'm on LinkedIn at Mikey Henninger. I'm on YouTube, Basement Brewed Fantasy Football. I technically have everything else: Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram, Twitter, etc. But those are the main spots I'm hanging out. But yeah, if anybody's looking to sign up, obviously we'd love to have you. This is the right time of year. It's WHOP.com/BBFF.
And what's your service cost?
It's $69 per year. There's three different services, but the baseline that 90% of people are on is $69 per year and includes every single thing that I do.
Yeah, and that's a pretty small price to pay to, even get one weekly win where you can talk some smack over your buddies or get you over the hump to win a league title, right?
Yeah, 100%. And one thing that's I think is super cool and unique to what I do compared to any other fantasy football vendors out there is I actually have a monthly jersey giveaway, but it's only for my members. So the only way to get in is you must be a member. So it's like I've had people a couple months back, Rocco Richter is one of my members. He signed up and that month he ended up being the guy who won an autographed jersey. So the fantasy football part hasn't even begun, and he's won a $150 prize after paying a $69 entry fee, and we haven't even started the fantasy football season. So
He's
it's
already got his money back and then
the
some.
the ROI is there.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Right now we're doing a simulated fantasy football season where people had to build their own roster, and whoever has the most points at the in mid August is going to win an autographed jersey of their choice. So it's pretty cool. I like to think even the $69 a year, that's going to have its fantasy implications, but also you could win a jersey every single month. And we
Yeah.
always, it's never just like random. It's always like a contest that we do it. So it's fun.
So I've never actually gotten into the season long deal, right? Or the legacy leagues and whatnot.
Mhm.
So people that are doing weekly picks, I mean, I would assume they can use your services the same way. You analyze players week to week, and no different there, right? You're ranking guys based on the matchups each week. What you think the upside is?
Yep, 100%. So that heat map that I was telling you about that
Yeah.
started this whole business, I've actually rebranded. It's called the Week Winner now, but it's the same thing. It's exactly what it is. If you're trying to build a FanDuel, a DraftKings lineup,
Yeah.
you're trying to figure out which guys have good matchups, which guys to stay away from. You can read, I got 280 plus players in that thing every single week. It literally takes me more than 25 hours a week to create, but that's because I'm pounding coffee and just researching guys left and right. So I'm doing all the work so you don't have to.
Well, I love it, man, because life's too busy, right? I'm running my business, but I'm a prideful guy, and I always say I have an easier time picking golfers in my golf league than I do in football for whatever reason, right? And
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of being bottom of the barrel, and I know some of these guys are using services that I'm going against. So
Oh, yeah.
I know you and I are going to talk, and I'm gonna get myself right this year and get some resources working for me.
Absolutely, man. 100%. Anybody who says they're not using anything is full of it. If you have people in your league saying they don't use anything,
Oh
I
yeah,
promise they're using something.
there's a lot of denial going on,
Well,
guys
100%.
making big jumps year to year and taking arrows because the people know they're using somebody, and so hey, whatever it takes, right? I mean, there's a
Yep.
reason they pay coaches 8, 9, $10 million a year, so
Well, yeah,
you're only asking
100%.
69 bucks.
Yeah, exactly, right? And there's a lot of people I like to do my own research, and it's like that's great. This is what helps you do that research. You
Sure,
know what I mean? It's like you're
sure.
doing that research somewhere. It might as well be right here because it's all in one roof.
Yeah, it's
So
like for an attorney, it's a paralegal. They're doing the bulk of it, and then then you go through you dial in once you get the 10,000 foot flyover. So.
if you're cool with it, I might steal that because that is a great way to explain it.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's fine. I always say it's just like the NFL, Mikey. There's no new ideas, man. Just if you want to see where somebody came up with a play, usually watch that opponent's game, the previous game, and whatever worked against them that week, you're going to see it the next week. Until you show you can stop a play, you're going to keep seeing it.
Yep.
It was no mistake, if we were playing, say the Colts, say they're playing the Colts one week and they played the Broncos the week before, and you saw the Broncos hit on a big play. Well, it wasn't a surprise when Wednesday came along and the game plan was rolled out that plays in there. So
Yep.
it's
Yep.
there's no unique ideas, man. Just copied and replayed plays. Uh,
100%.
so I mean, where do you see this thing going, man? I mean, you're 3 years in. Kind of momentum are you gaining? And for those people out there that maybe are in the same situation, whether it's in fantasy football or maybe they're just on the outside of what they really want to be doing, right? They're doing that 9 to 5. But they're not loving it, right? And they've got some other dream. I mean, what advice can you give them to get to the point to say, you know what, I'm going to make that jump?
I I feel like I'm asked that question pretty frequently on LinkedIn, and I think the best advice that I can give, which feels so basic, is to just start. You know, I think there's a lot of people that
Stop
spend a lot of
analyzing, stop thinking, and just do it.
there's a lot of people spending their time thinking and dreaming and planning. They're even doing the planning, and it's like
Oh,
I
yeah.
promise there's never going to be a like right time or a great
Perfect
time to
time.
do it. Like, and that's not say I'm not saying quit right now and dive all in. In fact, if I'm being completely honest, I was way too soon on my on quitting. I should have spent more time building my audience and getting my name out there. Like I'm 4 years in, nobody has a clue who I am, right? It's like it's still very small and we're trying to get to that point, but
Yeah.
so I'm definitely not saying quit your job but start doing something on the
Yeah.
side, like spend an hour every night, spend an hour, whatever it is, whether it's like building your audience on social media, researching what you're trying to get into. You're not going to be able to get out of what you don't love doing until you start spending some time doing the things you do love doing. And thinking about it, planning it's only going to get you so far. I remember early in my journey creating a business plan, like a legit, here's my business plan. That thing is probably completely out the window. Like I don't think there's a single paragraph in there that still applies 4 years later. It's like
Yeah.
you just gotta adjust on the fly, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You make the game plan and then life happens and then you got to adjust, man. Midstream adjust, as we used to say.
You can script the first 15 plays, but in the third quarter, I mean, you gotta adjust to the game, you know?
Exactly right. It's
Yep.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. I listen. I appreciate your perspective. I respect, the jump you made and you followed your heart. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. For those listeners out there that are on the edge and they're wondering, man, should I do it? And to your point, there is no perfect time, man. Just start laying the groundwork. You don't have to do it all at once, but take that first step and start planning the future you want, rather than the one, maybe the one you've painted yourself into the corner on, or others have because you're trying to live up to other people's expectations and whatnot. But
Yep.
again, it's having having a partner like your wife, that's very helpful and critical to enabling you to be able to reach for it, right?
Yeah, and I would even go further than that, in not even just your partner, just the inner circle that you surround yourself with, right? You gotta have the right friends, you gotta have the right family members, you gotta have people. Like I always say that the people closest to you, they can either drag you down or they can build you up. It's one or the other. So you gotta have your inner circle right if you're gonna be taking a big leap of faith like this one. So yeah, for me it starts with my wife, but it extends to my friends as
Sure.
well.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, before I let you go, let's get some inside info here. Not looking to give away free stuff, but as you look at obviously every year, we get new rookies coming in. I mean, who are some guys that stand out to you that are going to be, in your mind, going to be great fantasy picks out of this draft class?
Well, you got to start with Ashton Genty, the running back for the Raiders. I mean, yeah, first of all, we overuse this term, but it really is true when we say generational talent. This is one of those guys that coming into the NFL, he's a Bijan Robinson, he's a Saquon Barkley, he's a
Yeah.
genuine generational talent, and he's landing in a perfect environment, right? He's joining Chip Kelly, he's joining Pete Carroll, guys that love using their running backs that don't currently have a running back on the roster besides Raheem Mostert. Geno Smith's a plenty capable quarterback. Ashton Genty's going to get plenty of touches, plenty of fantasy points. It's always tough to stomach drafting a rookie in the first round, which is where he's going. I'd much rather take him in the second, which sometimes you can get him around 14 or 15, but when you're thinking about any rookies in
Yeah.
this class, Ashton Genty's in a tier that's several above the next guys like Travis Hunter, Ted McMillan. It starts and ends with Ashton Genty for sure.
How great will Travis Hunter be, do you think?
Dude, I'd be lying to you if I didn't have my own hesitations about Travis Hunter in fantasy football specifically, because if he really is going to be spending plenty of time on the defensive side of the ball, and he's also going to be spending plenty of time on the offensive side of the ball, you're increasing injury risk, right? Because he's playing way more snaps than
Sure.
anybody else out there. Brian Thomas is already there. Like, I don't know. I think he's going to be a unbelievable real life NFL football player.
Right.
Fantasy, I think there's some red flags, at least in year one.
Well, and it comes down to, I mean, if you're not focusing on one position, right, and putting all your focus on being great at that position, I mean,
Right.
you're just not going to be as good as you could be if that was your only job. But to your point, he's such a phenomenal athletic talent that it's hard not to play him everywhere and get max value out of him.
Heck yeah. And I mean, Jacksonville traded up to go get him. They gave up a lot to go get him. He's going to play on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have made that trade if they didn't have big plans for him. So he's going to be fun. He's going to be exciting. He's going to be a heck of a lot of fun to watch. It's just from a fantasy standpoint, at least in 2025, I'm steering clear at his current cost in drafts.
And who's a guy that's maybe under the radar that maybe maybe slipped down the draft or was a second, third, fourth round pick that you think just is coming into a good situation where they may be a good fit and have some upside.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot there. Like RJ Harvey, for example, that's a guy that I wasn't particularly high on going into the NFL draft, but coming out of the NFL draft, Denver spent a pretty expensive draft pick on him. He's going to a Sean Payton offense, plenty of opportunity there. They just lost Javonte Williams. Now they did sign J.K. Dobbins to compete there, but it's hard to ignore RJ Harvey at his draft capital in the offense that he is. And you could say the same thing about Omarion Hampton, the Chargers' new running back. Like he was my number two prospect in the entire running back prospect in the entire draft. And now you sent him to a Jim Harbaugh, Greg Roman offense. Like Greg Roman uh has finished lower than 10th in the NFL in rushing attempts just one time in 11 years as an offensive coordinator. And now you're putting Omarion Hampton in that offense.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But there's some real deep sleepers out there, like Dylan Sampson, a guy like he was the second running back that the Browns drafted, but now Quinshon Judkins is in some hot legal water in Cleveland. It's going to give Sampson an opportunity to run as the RB1 pretty early. He could be one of those guys that not a lot of people are thinking about that could end up maybe not winning leagues, but definitely playing his part for sure. I
I
think
love
there's a lot of guys out there.
All right. Well, I'm over here in Lions country, so I'd be remiss to not address some of
Isaac
these.
Tesla.
Well, that's one guy. I love that kid. I think he's explosive. Now, how many touches he'll get in that offense, I don't know, because there's a lot of guys to go around there. I do love him. I think he's explosive. I love the way he got off the line the other night, catches the ball well out in front of him,
Yep.
can make some things happen. I love that. So yeah, you weigh in on that. But I was going to ask you, just with Jahmyr Gibbs, he's in year three now. I mean, and they're talking about playing both backs, Montgomery and he together, which I think is really smart because I think you got to have them on the field as much as you
Oh
can.
yeah.
And when you've
Yep.
got guys like Jamison Williams and Tesla who can take the cover, the top off the defense, and then you got guys like Amon Ra, Jahmyr Gibbs on a linebacker. I like that matchup all day, or Laporta. I mean, I just
Yep.
obviously
Yep.
everybody knows the Lions have a good offense, and hopefully their defense will stay healthy this week. But with Jahmyr Gibbs, what do you foresee there this year, especially getting more snaps?
You know, what's funny about Jahmyr Gibbs is everybody was all about Saquon Barkley last year, and Derrick Henry obviously had a great
Yeah.
year. People don't realize Jahmyr Gibbs actually finished as fantasy's number one running back. Like,
Yeah,
it
those
wasn't
last 4 weeks
Saquon.
were phenomenal. I mean, he was he was
Yeah.
really going crazy.
Well, and the what he brings to at least the fantasy football game is he's more than just a running back, right? He's a big time threat as a pass catcher, and that's where you really unlock fantasy football upside.
Right.
In fact, that's a big reason that might like I was recently asked if you have to stake your reputation as a fantasy analyst on one player this year, it's Devon Achane for me for the Miami Dolphins, but it's for the same reason that people are in on Jahmyr Gibbs.
Sure.
The difference is Jahmyr Gibbs already costs a top five pick this year in
Yeah.
fantasy football drafts, right? So if you're at pick eight, you don't even have a shot at
Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs. But yeah, man, he's a threat to be the RB1 in any week, in any season. And what's wild about that is, like you said, he is splitting time with David Montgomery, and he has to, right? They like when you have a one A and a one B like that, you got to get those guys on the field. Detroit has the perfect pieces on offense, right? It's not like it's not redundant where like I'm thinking of the Giants, for example, where they last year they had seemingly eight or nine slot receivers besides Malik Neighbors. They didn't have that guy that could go get the ball. Detroit's got the tight end in Sam Laporta. They got the speed in Jamison Williams. They got the routes with Amon Ra. They got Gibbs come like there's no way to defend
Yeah.
that offense. Now they lost Ben Johnson. That's a big concern, but time will tell how it's going to
Yeah, we'll
work out.
see. And Lions fans, I love a good early preseason knee-jerk reaction, but obviously they didn't look too good in the Hall of Fame game. But I think they're going to be all right. So
Yeah. You can't in the Hall of Fame game is usually I actually didn't get a chance to see it. We were traveling at the moment, but it's usually like it's the rusty game, right? A
yeah,
lot of
well,
times you're not.
it's two and three deep on the roster starting,
Right.
right? And two fumbled kickoffs inside the 10 never help your chances of winning a
Oh,
game.
I didn't even know that. That's
Yeah,
why. Yeah.
five turnovers, two of them we handed to him inside the 10. So,
Mm.
well, listen, hey, I'm looking forward to this season. It's always a great time. Obviously, the NFL is a marketing dynamo, and America loves their pro football. It's awesome to get connected with you through social media and now on this podcast. I'm looking forward to utilizing your resources to win my what we call NAFL, our Nanta All Fun League. So I'm looking forward to being a champion to utilizing your services, Mikey. So again, for those of you interested, it's WHOP.com, WHOP.com/BBFF. Am I correct?
Yep.
All right.
Yep, that is correct. Now, you could go to basementbrewedff.com and find your way from there, but
Yeah.
that's the direct way to go. I know it's not convenient, but that's
Yeah.
what it is.
All right. Well, hey, I really appreciate coming on, and it's been awesome, and I look forward to maintaining a relationship and winning some championships with you, man.
Yes, man. Let's do it. It's fantasy. What do we got? August 5th? It's fantasy season, baby.
We're
Let's
getting
go. So
close. We're getting real close. I'm not ready to give up summer just yet, but I do love fall when it comes.
I know. That's
So
it's bittersweet.
yeah. So thanks again. Appreciate your time. Again, this episode brought to you by MitchLyonsWealth.com. Check us out. You can get a free book, a free movie, a newsletter. So check us out at MitchLyonsWealth.com. Again, until next time, we'll see you later. Take care.